talk about high school like it's supposed to be the best 4 years of your life. You hear that you're supposed to get involved, build your resume, chase opportunities, and prepare for college, all while balancing grades, friendship, family, and sleep. So, like everyone else, I tried to do everything right. I joined clubs, started projects, led events, and filled every hour of my day with something that felt productive. I thought that if I stayed busy, I would feel in control. But somewhere along the way, I stopped feeling anything at all. I remember sitting in class trying so hard to focus while my brain felt like it was somewhere else entirely. I nod, take notes, and pretend I was fine, but none of it ever stuck. Then I'd go home, open my laptop, stare at my assignments, and realize an hour had passed and I hadn't done a single thing. It wasn't that I didn't care. I cared too much. I just didn't have anything left to give anymore. Senior year was supposed to be the big finale, the year where everything came together. For me, it was the year where everything started to fall apart. No one really talks about burnout when you're a student. It doesn't show up all at once. It creeps out throughout the years, builds up slowly, quietly, until you wake up one day and realize that exhaustion has become your default setting. You wake up tired, you go to school tired, you come home tired, and you tell yourself that it's normal because everyone else looks and feels the same way. One night, I was sitting at my desk with three tabs open, one for homework, one for college applications, and one for a scholarship I knew I didn't have the energy to finish. My planner was full of deadlines that stared back at me like reminders of how far behind I was. I wasn't working anymore. I was just existing somewhere between stress and guilt, chasing a version of success that never felt real. It wasn't realistic in the first place. I told myself I was being disciplined. I told myself that being busy meant I was doing well. But the truth is, I was scared. Scared of slowing down, scared of failing behind, scared of what I'd feel if I stopped moving long enough to notice how tired I really was. That kind of fear becomes so familiar that you start to mistake it for drive. The turning point came one afternoon after school. I went to my college and careers advisor's office to ask about deadlines. I had a list of questions about college applications, scholarships, recommendations forms, everything that was due. I was talking fast, trying to make sense of it all, hoping she would tell me that I was still on track. She listened, quietly, nodding every so often until I finally ran out of words and breath. Then she smiled and said, "You need to slow down. You're doing enough. You're going to be just fine." At first, I didn't know what to say. No one had ever told me that before. Most of the time, people said, "Keep pushing," or "You're doing amazing," which always sounded like, "Do more." But she said it differently, calm, certain, like she could see the exhaustion. I had been hiding behind my planner. It wasn't advice, it was permission. That moment stayed with me because it made me realize how rare it is to feel seen for who you are instead of what you do. Until then, I thought slowing down meant falling behind. I thought rest was a weakness, that good leaders never stopped moving. But she reminded me that slowing down isn't giving up. It's the only way to last long enough to lead with purpose. After that, I started noticing things I didn't notice before. My advisor stayed after school, answering emails from students who were just as overwhelmed as I was. My teachers still smiled at students in the morning, even when they looked exhausted. My friends kept showing up to meetings, their laughter hiding behind the same burnout. And that's when I started to understand that everyone was carrying something: pressure, fear, expectations, or just a quiet way of trying to keep it all together. And that realization changed the way I led. I used to think leadership meant having all the answers. Now I think it means being the one who listens. When you've gone through mental health struggles, you start seeing people differently. You notice the silence before the breakdown, the smile that doesn't reach the eyes anymore, or the way someone starts saying, "I'm fine," a little too quickly. You realize that leadership isn't always about fixing things. Sometimes it's about creating space for people to breathe. That's what my advisor did for me. She didn't try to fix everything. She just cared out loud and gave me the space that I needed, the space I didn't give myself. And that kind of care can be make all the difference in the world. Mental health struggles have a way of teaching lessons that success never could. They build empathy, they teach patience, they make you more aware of the world around you. According to the CDC, nearly 40% of high school students report feeling persistently sad or hopeless, and about 1 in 5 teens show signs of anxiety or depression. A study by the American Psychological Association Center found that almost 60% of Gen Z students feel emotionally drained before they even go to college. Those numbers are huge, but they don't tell the whole story. Behind every statistic is someone like me, someone who's trying to keep up to make the parents proud, to prove that they belong, all while quietly fighting to say okay. But what those numbers don't show is how strong those same students are, because even when life feels heavy, they still show up, they still care, they still try. That's a kind of strength that doesn't show up on report cards, but matters more than any grade could ever. I used to think strength meant holding everything together, no matter what. Now I know it's about learning how to rebuild, to start over, and to learn from a place of honesty rather than perfection. For a long time, I believed I had to be perfect to deserve good things, that if I wasn't consistently improving, I was falling behind. But perfection doesn't make you a good leader. Presence does. Rest isn't failure, and slowing down doesn't mean weakness. It's awareness. It means you learn to listen to yourself before you lose yourself. Leadership isn't about being in charge of others. It's about being in tune with yourself. It's about knowing when to keep pushing and when to take a step back. Because you can't lead anyone through chaos if you've never learned to face your own. It took me years to realize that it's only embarrassing when you think it is. It's only hard when you convince yourself that it is. The moment you stop caring about how it looks and start caring what it means, everything changes. I used to believe there were walls between students and teachers, success and burnout between who I was and who I wanted to be. But those walls weren't real. They were built from fear, and fear can be replaced with honesty, connection, and compassion. So if you're sitting here feeling burnt out or lost, wondering if you're doing enough, I want you to know that you're not behind. You're growing. You're building the kind of strength that lasts, the kind that doesn't come from being perfect, but from staying human. And there's nothing wrong with that. Being stronger than you think doesn't mean pretending you're fine. It means knowing that even when you're not, you still have it in you to begin again. That's what mental health taught me. That's leadership. Thank you.